So a new addition to the 2020 census leading to a lawsuit yet again from, you guessed it, the state of California. The AG, Javier Becerra, now suing the Trump administration over its decision to reinstate a question about citizenship on the census. David Avella, chairman of GOPAC, and Leslie Marshall, syndicated radio host and a Fox News contributor. Good day to all of you today. Wow, Leslie, I'm in California, just on and on and on. Simple question to you, David, you begin here. Should the census include a question as to whether or not you are a legal citizen or not?
Yes. Let's also keep in mind, Bill, that it was the Clinton administration that wanted to do sampling so that where they thought there wasn't a high enough count, they could just make up numbers. Because what's this ultimately about? It's about power and money. And what the California Attorney General is really saying is, I want more money brought to California because we're so inept at running our own state government that we need more money from the federal government to run our programs. Fortunately, sampling was rejected by the Supreme Court, just as if this went to the Supreme Court, odds are overwhelming, the Supreme Court would say, you can ask citizenship.
Yeah. I think Leslie agrees 1,000%, don't you, Leslie?
No.
Come on now. You guys are making all kinds of headlines out there.
I disagree 1,000%. First of all, Attorney General here in California, Xavier Becerra, he is one of 19 Attorney Generals. He's just first in line. There are 18 others that have complained, along with immigration groups and, quite frankly, constitutional legal analysts who look at our Constitution and say the Constitution doesn't talk about counting citizenship or citizens. They talk about counting people. And, Bill, this is why it's an issue, not just for California, but the United States. You need to have an accurate count of all persons, and this goes beyond voting. This does look at what type of funding do we need. Let's just keep in mind one agency, FEMA, as example. It's not just the underrepresented Latino and Asian population that'll be hurt by this, but veterans, elderly, disabled, children, the list goes on. This is nothing but a bad thing.
Okay, so you think what the administration's trying to do is find illegals. That's what you think's going on here, right?
No, I don't. I think it's twofold. Does it help ICE a little? Perhaps. But what I think more so they're doing is they're trying to have the Latino and Asian population, not just in California, but nationwide, underrepresented, so that the Supreme Court would say, hey, go ahead, GOP, gerrymander and redistrict to your heart's content, and it would be more favorable to a Republican map and help Trump in the 2020 election.
I love a great conspiracy theory. David, what about that? How's that rank?
Leslie does a good job at presenting the Democrats' position. What is somewhat humorous, though, is they wonder why they continue to lose elections. The president has a 2/3% support amongst Americans in what he outlined on immigration, secure the border, don't allow chain migration, and yet in every instance the Democrats oppose those things. And now you have another one where, quite frankly, we're just trying, the census is trying to get an accurate count. The Trump administration and the Commerce Department has already talked, they're going to put record amounts of money in promoting the census, in marketing the census, in getting people to take the census. And look, there are people here who don't have citizenship but have legal status. We want to make sure they're counted. This, to most Americans, this is a head scratcher. Why are they opposed?
Here's what the administration argues. This is about, what's the phrase? Yeah, base it on citizens and not residents. Why is that so irrational?
Well, if you're asking me, Bill, because over 11 million people in this country are not citizens, and actually we're not going to really know the true number if this goes forth, because people, not just undocumented immigrants, but immigrants who are legal are going to be afraid to take the census. I think there'll be some people that don't take the census in retaliation will end up in the recycling bin known as the trash, and that will be very problematic, not just in the aspect of voting. And David, where do you get the 2/3 supporting the president? The highest number I've ever seen this guy have is a 45% on his best day.
Look at, Leslie, look at the numbers of did they support the policies, the four he outlined in his State of the State, and poll after poll shows 66 or higher percent support the principles that were laid out. But let's also keep in mind, Leslie says that they're so concerned that they won't fill out the census. And so somehow if they're that concerned that this question is going to keep them from filling out the question, no. If they're that concerned, it doesn't matter what question is on the census. They're not going to want to fill it out.
Thanks to both of you. We'll see where it goes. Leslie, keep them under control out there, will you? David,
I will.
We'll see you in Washington soon. Thanks to both.